Hi, team. This is George. Wanted to welcome you first off to our class, Introduction to Psychology. I find psychology to be absolutely fascinating because it touches everything that we see, feel, hear, do. It all goes through our minds. And what happens in psychology, our study and our introduction to psychology, is our brain makes stuff up. And the reason why it makes stuff up is because we have this thing called schema. Schema is a filter of all the input because we have constant data input from whatever we feel, see, hear, touch, smell, taste. So what that is a schema is our past experiences, past education, past experiences, and our brain filters everything through that. And what it does is our brain tries to make us think that it's super smart because it fills in the blanks. How does it do that? Well, every time we see something, we run it through our schema and it says, have I seen this before? What could it be? What's it like? And that's a fantastic thing that it does. But one thing that we have to be wary for is as our brain does this, we need to know that it's doing that because if we don't, then our perspective can actually shrink. So we want to grow our perspective because psychology is so fascinating and our brain is so fascinating that we can actually help it grow. So I want to kind of try something real quick if you don't mind. Let's see what we see. Okay, so first you have 10 seconds. I will count them out. State as many things as you see in this picture. Ready, set. How many things did you come up with? I would imagine it's about 2 to 6. And what happens is uh, a child will see 8 to 15 things. So if you saw 8 to 15 things, congratulations, because you're already thinking like a kid, thinking like a child. And what I mean by that is they don't have as much schema built up. They don't have all those filters that we have. So as we look at things, let's think like a kid. Let's kind of broaden our perspective. Let's know that our schema is trying to tell us certain things, but let's take that deeper look and let's ask a lot of questions because that's how we stretch and create a larger schema that we can look through by asking questions and also actively wonder what if. It could be as crazy as you want it to be. What if, what if, what if? Because what that does is that stretches our schema, stretches our perspective out. And most importantly, enjoy the process. So whether it's fantastic um, time and space that you're going through, or it's an incredibly hectic time, because we'll probably have both in class. Remember that when God puts us in situations, we're going to get an amazing tool from it. So embrace that process, whether it's a bit hectic, may even be horrible. I hope it's not horrible in this class, but anytime, enjoy the process because it's whether we're having a fantastic time of it or we're feeling a little bit hectic, that's okay. As long as we embrace and enjoy that process, we're going to get some amazing tools out of it. So do me a favor now. Remember that picture that I showed you? Let's look at it again. And how many things do you see? Is it a cliff? Is it a boat? Is it a plate of spaghetti? Is it an airplane flying through the sky? Is it a purple giraffe? I don't know. Just ask what if and open your mind up to greater possibilities because we weren't meant to be limited. We were meant to be so much more than limited in our thinking. So that's what we need to do to help us. Okay. So as we go through in our first week, we have the professor channel. Let me click over here to our class. Whoops, I'm not there. There we go. Here's our class in the professor channel, probably where you're watching this. I have my introduction video already there, so we're ready to go there. I will post something there at least once a week. And as we go through in our second space discussions, we have a fantastic discussion going this week. Here's our discussion under week 1, getting started. We're looking at where psychological science meets the world of faith. Is there an intersection? And we're going to be looking deeply at that. One thing that I always say is whenever psychology looks, they say you have to and they try to make it almost seem like there is no connection between faith and psychology. If you look at a lot of the different organizations, but they always circle back to, if you want something to work, you have to be bonded with they call it a higher power or something like that. So that is absolutely true. So there's plenty of room for that faith cross, for that faith intersection between the two. So wherever you are in your journey, in your faith journey, um, I hope you grow more in wherever that spot is with us, because we're going to dive in. We're going to look at that really deeply. Let's go back to week 1. And then how about our assignments? What I like about our assignments, we have some amazing assignments. And in week 1, we have our learning activity, APA style and formatting. That's just a start. I'm pretty good at APA, so I'm going to be there to help you along the way. If you're like me, when you initially started that, it seemed kind of intimidating. But then as I learned more about it, it was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And I'll give some tips. That's one of the videos I'm going to do this week again, so I'm not going to dive deep into that one. Our personal experience essay. Remember, our personal experience essay overview is going to be, or I'm sorry, our personal experience essay is going to be an accumulation of all that we do here. So make sure you look at the overview here, and your part 1 introduction is going to be due Monday of week 2. So not yet. So I know we don't start until Tuesday, but it's going to be due the following Monday. So enjoy that process. Remember, jump into it deeply. And here, experience. We're going to embrace each other's experience here, because we all have so many different experiences. We come from different places in the country. We come from often different places in the world. So we all look at things just slightly differently. And it's a beautiful thing, because we can all look at the same thing and come away with a different experience. We can all walk into Starbucks and go through the exact same process and come away with a slightly different experience. So that's why we want to really dive into these discussions and participate in them, because that's where we learn from others' experience. And guess what? That's where our schema and our perspective stretches. And that's what we want to do, because we want to be able to reach more people, because it is all about people. So we want to expand our experience, our schema and our perspective. So remember, and when we're doing our discussions, post throughout the week. Don't just post all in one day, because that doesn't allow for conversations. And we want to allow for conversations. So oh, and this is I'm sorry, I jumped the gun, but do faith and psychology intersect anywhere? I don't know. You could probably ask these guys, because they have a lot of faith. I don't know where their faith is, but there is faith that they're going to land back on that seat. So we're going to be deep into that discussion. Remember, post throughout the week. Don't just post 1 day or 2 days. Shoot for at least 3 days. And we're going to have some amazing conversations. Now, I want to close with a choice, because I just find psychology fascinating, so I like to do things like this. So here's your choice. So first, choose a number between 1 and 5. You have it? Multiply that number by 9. Okay? Then if your number's 1-digit number, simply keep it. If it's 2 digits, add them both together. Okay? So you're going to end up with a single digit. So if your number had 2 digits, add them together. That's going to be your number. Okay, now we're going to subtract 5 from that number, and this is going to be your final number. Okay, so choose a number between 1 and 5, multiply it by 9, add the 2 digits together if they're worth 2 digits, subtract 5 from whatever that is. Now, we're going to transfer that to a letter. So if you ended up with 1 after going through that, your letter's A, 2 is B, 3 is C, 4 is D. So if you have all that, 5E, 6F, so pick your letter. Now, here we go. Here's our choice. Pick a country that starts with that letter. Take the last letter of your country and think of an animal that begins with that letter. Using the last letter of the animal you chose, think of a color. Now, how many of us came up with an orange kangaroo from Denmark? Because our schema, I would imagine about 80% of us did. If you didn't, Congratulations, because that's our schema at work, because those are all questions that kind of led us down the road to the path. Because if pick a number between 1 and 5, any number you pick, you're going to end up with the number 9 after you add the two digits together. Or if you pick 1, your number 9 is automatically, because 9 times 5, 45, 4 plus 5 is 9. And you subtract 5 from that, 4. So you automatically end up with a D. And the most probable choice for that is Denmark. Some people may pick Dominican Republic, but the most common choice is Denmark. So, and what's the last letter in Denmark? K. What's the most common animal that starts with K? Kangaroo. So that's how our schema kind of uh, forces our answer, if you will, or shapes our answer, shapes our perspective on things. And what's the most common color with an O? Orange. So orange kangaroo from Denmark. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let's have a fantastic week, and I'll see you online.